Emma was the kind of woman who made everyone feel warm. She had soft brown eyes, a gentle smile, and always greeted strangers with kindness. She was married to Officer Daniel, a respected police officer in their city. While Daniel dealt with dangerous criminals, Emma helped people in her own quiet way, baking cookies for neighbors, visiting sick children, and volunteering at the shelter. One Wednesday afternoon, Emma went to the grocery store. It was a normal day. The sun was shining. Birds were singing outside. She pushed her cart through the fruit aisle, humming softly. That's when she saw her, a small girl, no older than 7, standing behind a shelf of cereal boxes. The girl had messy brown hair, a thin blue dress, and no shoes. Her feet were dirty. Her face looked pale. But what caught Emma's heart were the eyes, big, scared, and locked onto her. Emma smiled politely and waved. The girl didn't wave back. She just kept staring. Emma turned her cart and looked again, but the girl was gone. She thought maybe she imagined it. Maybe the girl was with someone and just wandered off. But that wasn't the last time she saw her. The next day, outside the bakery, Emma saw the same girl standing across the street. No shoes, same blue dress, same eyes. Emma crossed the street, but a bus passed between them, and when it moved, the girl had vanished. Again, Emma started feeling strange. She didn't want to panic. Maybe the child was just shy, maybe she lived nearby. But the third time, it was different. It was a Friday afternoon. Emma had just picked up a package from the post office. As she walked up the street toward her home, she froze. The girl was there, standing across from their house. Watching, she wasn't moving. She didn't blink, just stood there with her arms at her sides. Emma slowly approached, but a car drove past, and the girl disappeared once more. Emma felt a chill run down her back. This wasn't normal. That night while they had dinner, Emma told Daniel, "There's a little girl," she said. "I've seen her 3 times now, at the store, at the bakery, and today, outside our house." Daniel looked up from his plate. "Maybe. She's just curious," he said. "Kids stare, especially when they're new to the area." Emma shook her head. "She's always alone. Dirty feet, same clothes, never speaks, and she disappears too fast." Daniel smiled gently. "You're probably just overthinking. But if you see her again, get a picture. I'll run it through the system." Emma nodded, but she didn't feel any better. The next morning was quiet. Emma went to the park for a walk. The air was fresh. Birds sang in the trees. As she walked past the swings, she stopped. There she was again, sitting on a bench, still, silent, watching. Emma's heart pounded. She crossed the path slowly, carefully, like approaching a scared animal. The girl didn't move. Emma sat on the bench beside her, just a little distance. "Hi there," Emma said softly. "My name is Emma. What's yours?" No answer. "You okay, sweetheart?" "Nothing." Emma looked into those eyes again. They weren't just scared, they were full of pain. Deep old pain. She reached into her bag and took out a small bottle of water and a granola bar. "Are you hungry?" she asked. The girl took the bar slowly. Her hands were shaking. Emma smiled gently. "Where's your mommy, sweetie? Is she nearby?" The girl looked up at her for the first time. Then, in a whisper so soft Emma almost didn't hear it, the girl said, "You're the only one who can help my mommy before he hurts her again." Emma's heart stopped. She looked around. No one was near. The park was quiet. The air was still. She turned back to the girl, but she was gone. Just like that. Vanished. Emma stood up quickly, eyes scanning every corner of the park. "Wait, come back," she called. But there was no answer. Just the soft wind through the trees. She stood there frozen for a few seconds, heart racing. Then she pulled out her phone with trembling hands and called Daniel. Daniel arrived at the park within 10 minutes. His police car pulled up fast, tires pressing hard against the gravel. He stepped out quickly, still in uniform, and ran toward Emma. She stood near the bench, holding her arms tightly around herself. She was right here, Emma said, pointing at the empty spot. She sat there. I gave her food, and then she said something. Daniel looked around the quiet park. What did she say? Emma's voice shook. She said I was the only one who could help her, Mommy, before he hurts her again. Daniel's face changed. He no longer looked calm. He was alert now, the way he looked during serious cases. You're sure that's what she said? He asked. Emma nodded. Exactly those words. Then she was gone. Daniel scanned the area. I'm going to report this. We'll check CCTV from the nearby street cams. If she shows up again, try to talk to her. Keep her with you. Emma frowned. She's just a little girl, Daniel. She's scared. Why would she come to me? Daniel put a hand on her shoulder. Maybe she trusts you. Maybe she's been watching for a reason. That evening, back at home, Emma couldn't stop thinking about the girl. Every sound outside made her check the window. Every shadow made her heart jump. She couldn't sleep. Just past midnight, she went into the kitchen to get water. As she turned toward the window, she froze. The girl was standing across the street again. Same blue dress, same scared eyes, holding something in her hands. Emma dropped the glass and ran to the front door. By the time she opened it, the girl was gone. But something was on the porch, a folded piece of paper. Emma picked it up with shaking hands. It was a drawing, a child's drawing made with crayons. It showed a woman with red hair sitting on a chair, her hands tied. Her eyes were crying, and standing behind her was a tall man. His face was blacked out, but on his chest were shiny circles. Badges. Police badges. Daniel stared at the drawing for a long time the next morning. He said nothing for a while. Just looked. At the details. She's saying the man who hurt her mom is a cop? Emma asked. Daniel didn't answer, but his eyes said he was thinking hard. She gave this to me, Emma added. Why didn't she go to anyone else? Daniel finally spoke. Because maybe she knows no one else will believe her. Later that day, Daniel went to the station. He took the drawing and made quiet copies of it. He didn't tell his captain. He didn't log it as evidence, not yet. Instead, he called in a favor from his friend on the tech team. Check all reports of missing women with red hair over the last 6 months, he said. Cross-reference with any children reported in the area. The tech officer raised an eyebrow. Why? Just do it, Daniel said, and don't tell anyone I asked. Back at home, Emma checked the porch every hour. She walked down the street. She waited at the park, but the girl didn't come. Not that day. Not the next. It wasn't until the third night that Emma found something strange. A small piece of paper had been slipped under their door. Another drawing. This time it showed a road. At the end of the road was a wooden house with smoke coming out of the chimney. Next to it was a tree with a tire swing. Emma took the drawing to Daniel. He stared at it for a moment, then stood up fast. I know this place, he said. That road. It's up in the woods near Carter Hill. Emma's eyes widened. You think the girl is telling us where her mom is? I think she's begging us to go. That night, as Daniel loaded his gun and got into his patrol car, Emma stopped him. She said, "You can't help," Emma whispered. She said I could. Daniel paused. Emma looked serious now, stronger than before. Then maybe I should come. With you, she said. Daniel shook his head. It might not be safe. She's coming to me, Daniel. She's trusting me. I won't let her down. Daniel looked at her for a long moment. Then he opened the passenger door. Get in, he said. As they drove through the dark woods, Emma held the drawing in her lap. Her heart beat fast. The road got rough. Trees got thicker. Finally, they saw a small wooden house at the end of the dirt path, and beside it, a tree with a tire swing, exactly like the drawing. Daniel reached for his radio. Dispatch, this is Officer Daniel Carter. I need backup to Carter Hill. Possible hostage situation. Emma stared at the dark house. Something was moving inside. The porch light flicked on, and in the window, she saw the girl, staring out right at her. The night was cold and quiet. Daniel turned off the engine and slowly stepped out of the patrol car. Emma followed, her heart pounding in her chest. The only light came from the porch of the small wooden house. It flickered slightly, like it hadn't been used in a long time. Emma whispered, "She's in there. I saw her in the window." Daniel nodded. "Stay behind me. Don't move unless I say." But Emma didn't stay behind. She walked slowly toward the house, her eyes fixed on the window. The little girl's face was gone now. The curtain had moved. The house looked still again. But Emma could feel it. Someone was watching. Daniel reached the porch first. He looked back at Emma and motioned for her to wait by the steps. Then he knocked. No answer. He knocked again, louder, still silence. Then he reached for the door handle. It turned, unlocked. Slowly, Daniel pushed the door open, his hand near his. "Gun." Emma stayed frozen on the steps, trying to control her breathing. The house smelled like old wood, damp and dusty. Inside, there were no lights on, just shadows. "Police," Daniel called. "If anyone is inside, make yourself known." A floorboard creaked upstairs. Daniel looked up sharply. "Stay here," he told Emma again, and stepped inside with quiet but firm steps. But Emma didn't listen. She stepped into the house behind him. The silence was heavy, like the walls were holding secrets. A photo frame on the wall was cracked. A coat rack leaned to one side. There was a woman's scarf on the ground. Emma bent to pick it up. It was torn. Then she saw it, a small crayon on the floor. "Blue. Just like the one used for the drawings," she whispered. "She's been here." Suddenly, a sound. From the basement. It wasn't loud, just a soft thump. Daniel turned toward the noise. "Basement," he said quietly, pulling out his flashlight. They both walked toward the basement door. Daniel opened it slowly. A narrow staircase led down into darkness. Emma hesitated. Then, a soft voice echoed up from the bottom. "Help." It was the girl. Emma ran down the stairs before Daniel could stop her. "Emma!" he shouted, following close behind. The basement was cold and damp. The only light came from Daniel's flashlight. In the far corner, there she was. The little girl, curled up near an old mattress, holding her knees, eyes wide and tearful. Emma ran to her. "It's okay, sweetheart, I'm here." The girl clutched Emma tightly. "Where's your mother?" Daniel asked, scanning the room. The girl pointed toward a locked door. Daniel kicked it open. Inside, a woman was tied to a chair, weak and pale. Her red hair was messy, her face bruised. Emma gasped. "Is she alive?" Daniel checked her pulse. "Yes, but she needs help." He grabbed his radio. "Dispatch, we found them. One adult female, one minor, both alive. Send medical and backup now." Suddenly, a loud noise from upstairs. The front door slammed shut. Daniel drew his gun. "Stay here." He ran back up. The stairs. Emma hugged the girl tightly, whispering, "You're safe now, I promise." The girl was shaking. "He's here." Emma froze. "Who?" she whispered. The girl looked at her with terrified eyes. "The man with the badge." Upstairs, Daniel moved fast. He checked every room. Then, a loud crack. He was pushed hard from behind. He hit the wall, his gun sliding across the floor. A tall man stood above him. Dressed in black, a badge on his belt. Daniel's eyes widened. It was Officer Ray Dalton, a fellow cop from another precinct. "What the hell are you doing here?" Daniel asked, standing up slowly. Ray's face was cold, angry. "You weren't supposed to find this place." Daniel clenched his fists. "You hurt them, Ray, a woman and her child?" Ray shrugged. "She was going to ruin everything. She was going to talk, so I made sure she couldn't." Daniel stepped forward. "It's over. Backup is on the way, you're done." Ray pulled out a small pistol. "Then I guess we don't have much time." Downstairs, Emma heard a gunshot. She screamed. The girl clung to her. Emma didn't think. She ran up the stairs with the girl behind her. When she reached the living room, she saw Daniel on the floor, hurt but alive. Ray was holding the gun. Toward him, Emma didn't know what to do. She grabbed the only thing near her, a lamp, and smashed it over Ray's head. The man dropped the gun and collapsed. Daniel grabbed his weapon and pointed it at him. Ray groaned and stopped moving. The room was silent. Daniel looked at Emma. "You just saved my life." She was shaking. "She saved all of us," she whispered, looking at the girl. Outside, police sirens filled the night. Backup had arrived, and so had justice. The flashing red and blue lights lit up the dark woods around the small house. Police. Officers moved quickly, surrounding the building, guns raised, ready for anything. Inside, Officer Daniel sat on the floor, holding his shoulder where Officer Ray had slammed him. A paramedic was already checking on him. Emma sat beside the little girl, holding her tightly. The girl had finally stopped shaking, but her eyes were still wide with fear. The red-haired woman, her mother, was being carefully lifted onto a stretcher. Her voice was weak, but she held out her hand toward her daughter. The girl ran to her, crying. "Mommy," the woman whispered. "It's okay, baby. We're safe now." Emma wiped her own tears. She had never expected this. Outside, Chief Reynolds, an older officer with a strong face, pulled Daniel aside. "You're telling me Officer Ray Dalton was behind this?" the chief asked, disbelief in his voice. Daniel nodded. "Yes, sir. He assaulted me. He tied up the woman and hid her here, and he knew how to avoid getting caught." The chief looked stunned. "Dalton has worked with us for over a decade. Clean record, always polite. But if what you're saying is true..." "It is," Daniel said firmly. "He fooled all of us, but not her." He nodded toward the little girl. "She followed my wife, trusted her because she knew no one else would listen." Back in the ambulance, the girl held her mother's hand tightly. Emma sat beside them. "Can you tell me your name, sweetheart?" the girl whispered. "Lily." Emma smiled softly. "That's a beautiful name." Lily looked up at her. "I watched you for days. You were kind. Mommy said, find someone with kind eyes. I saw yours." Emma's heart broke. She brushed the girl's hair gently. "You're so brave, Lily. So is your mom." Lily nodded. "Mommy tried to leave him, but he was a policeman. No one believed her. So I tried instead." At the station later that night, Daniel helped file the report. Officer Dalton had been taken into custody. The evidence found in the house, the torn clothes, the video from Emma's phone, and Lily's own words, were more than enough to open a full investigation. Emma sat in the waiting room. She hadn't slept, but she didn't feel tired. She just kept thinking about Lily. A few hours later, a social worker arrived to talk with Lily and her mother. Emma and Daniel sat nearby, listening. The social worker, Ms. Claire, smiled gently. "Your mommy is going to the hospital to rest and heal. She'll be okay." Lily looked scared again. "I don't want to go with anyone else." Emma leaned forward. "She can stay with us for a little while, can't she?" Daniel looked surprised, then nodded. "Of course." Ms. Claire blinked. "Are you sure? That's not a small decision." Emma took Lily's hand. "She needs a safe place, and I think we need her too." Back at home, Emma helped Lily into clean clothes and tucked her into a guest bed. The girl looked small in the big room. As Emma turned off the light, Lily whispered, "Will you be here when I wake up?" Emma walked back and hugged her. "Always." Meanwhile, Daniel stepped outside and looked up at the stars. He thought about how close they had come to missing the truth, how a little girl's courage had uncovered a secret hidden in plain sight. He looked back into the house, where his wife now sat beside a sleeping child, a child who had changed everything. But just when peace began to return, a new call came in. The police radio buzzed, "Officer down, suspect escaped custody, possibly armed. Suspect last seen heading north." Daniel froze. "Dalton," he whispered. He ran back inside. Emma looked up. Daniel met her eyes. "He's not done yet." It was just past midnight. Emma was sitting beside Lily's bed, gently brushing her hair. Back while she slept. The house was quiet now, almost peaceful. Outside, the trees swayed gently in the breeze, but that peace didn't last. Daniel's phone buzzed sharply on the nightstand. He picked it up quickly. The message made his heart stop. Prisoner. Escaped during transfer. Officer Ray Dalton is on the run. Consider armed and dangerous. Daniel's face turned pale. He stood up quickly and grabbed his belt and gun. Emma walked out of the bedroom. What's wrong? Daniel didn't want to scare her, but he couldn't. Ray escaped custody. He might come here. Emma's eyes widened. He knows where we live. Daniel nodded grimly. Without wasting time, he checked every window and locked every door. He turned on the house alarm. Emma quietly moved Lily to the bedroom at the back of the house and locked the door from inside. Lily woke up, rubbing her. What's happening? Emma hugged her tightly. It's okay, baby. We're just being extra careful. Lily looked up, sensing something was wrong. Is it him? She whispered. Emma nodded slowly. But your daddy's a brave man. He won't let anyone hurt us. Outside, the street was quiet. Too quiet. Daniel stood near the front door, flashlight in one hand, gun in the other. He called the police station. Chief, I need backup at my house. He might be coming here. My wife and the girl are inside. The chief responded, We're sending 2 units now. ETA, 15 minutes. 15 minutes felt like forever. Daniel stood perfectly still, listening to every sound. Then, a noise from the backyard. He turned fast and walked to the kitchen, peeking through the curtains. Nothing. He turned around, and suddenly, a brick smashed through the back window. The alarm screamed. Emma screamed. Daniel rushed toward the noise, but Ray Dalton was already inside. He stepped through the broken glass slowly, gun in his hand, eyes wild. Where is she? He said coldly. Daniel aimed at him. Drop it, Ray, it's over. Ray laughed bitterly. You don't get it. That girl, she ruined everything. Daniel stepped forward. She's a child. You hurt her family. You lied to all of us. Ray's hand trembled. You think you're better than me? I protected this town for years, and nobody cared. Not until she opened her mouth. Daniel's voice was steady. You're done, Ray? Put the gun down. But Ray didn't drop the weapon. From the hallway, Emma stood watching, frozen. Behind her, Lily peeked out from the room, holding her stuffed toy tightly. Ray saw them and smiled. Ah, there you are. He raised the gun toward Emma. Bang! A shot echoed through the house. Emma screamed and covered Lily. Daniel stood in shock, the gun smoking in his hand. Ray collapsed to the floor. He was alive, but wounded in the leg, bleeding. Daniel rushed to him and kicked the gun away. Sirens wailed in the distance. This time, backup had really arrived. Minutes later, officers stormed the house and took Ray into custody once more, this time in chains. Emma held Lily tightly, both of them shaking. Daniel walked over to them and knelt beside Lily. It's over. He's gone. He can't hurt you anymore. Lily looked at him, her small voice shaking. You stopped him. Daniel smiled softly. No, you stopped him. You were brave enough to speak when no one else did. That night, as the sun began to rise, peace finally returned. Emma made hot chocolate for Lily, who sat on the couch wrapped in a blanket. Daniel sat nearby, holding his wife's hand. Lily looked up and whispered, Can I stay here? Forever? Emma smiled, eyes full of tears. Yes, for as long as you want, Daniel nodded. This is your home now. Outside, the first light of morning touched the trees, and inside that small house, a broken family started to heal. Together. News of what happened spread fast. By morning, everyone in town had heard about Officer Ray Dalton's arrest, and the bravery of a little girl named Lily. The headlines were everywhere. Cop exposed by 7-year-old girl after shocking escape. Officer's wife helps rescue abused mother and child. Hero child found safety in kind stranger's eyes. Outside. Daniel and Emma's house, reporters gathered. Police stood guard to keep them away. Inside, Emma made pancakes for Lily, who was finally smiling, just a little. She sat at the table wearing one of Emma's oversized sweaters and drawing pictures with crayons. One drawing showed a small girl, a tall man and a kind woman all holding hands. When Emma saw it, she put her hand over her heart. "That's us?" Lily nodded shyly. "You're my safe people." At the station, Daniel sat with Chief Reynolds and internal affairs officers. They reviewed everything: video footage, hospital reports, and statements from Lily and her mother. One officer said, "Dalton had a clean record. No one saw this coming." Daniel shook his head. "He used his badge to scare people into silence. Lily's mother tried to report him, but no one listened." Chief Reynolds sighed deeply. "That ends now. From today we listen. Every voice matters, even the smallest one." Later that afternoon, Daniel returned home. Emma greeted him with a warm hug. "She's been asking for you," she whispered. Daniel stepped inside the living room. Lily looked up and ran to him. "Hi, Daddy Daniel," she said softly. He froze. For a second, surprised, then knelt down. "You called me what?" Lily smiled. "Can I call you that? You make me feel safe, like daddies should." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. He nodded. "You can call me that forever, Lily." Meanwhile, Lily's mother, Maria, was recovering in the hospital. Her injuries were healing slowly, but her spirit was stronger than ever. Emma visited her. With flowers. "You saved my daughter," Maria said, tears in her eyes. "You believed her, you followed her. Most people would have walked away." Emma held her hand. "Your daughter saved herself. I just listened." Maria smiled weakly. "Thank you for giving her a home." Emma nodded. "And when you're ready, you'll have a home too." Few days later, the school invited Daniel, Emma, and Lily to a special assembly. The principal stood on stage and spoke into the microphone. Sometimes heroes wear uniforms, but sometimes they wear tiny shoes and carry big courage. Lily stood beside Emma, shy but proud. The whole school clapped. Some kids even made cards with hearts and stars. For the first time in her life, Lily didn't feel invisible. She felt seen, heard, loved. Back at home that evening, the family sat on the couch watching cartoons. Laughter filled the room. The trauma hadn't disappeared. The fear still lingered in quiet corners of the mind. But in this house, healing had begun. And outside, the world had started to change too. People began looking more closely, listening more carefully, caring a little deeper, because of one small girl who followed a stranger, who whispered the truth, and who refused to be ignored. 2 weeks had passed. The town had returned to its normal rhythm, but something inside it had changed. Forever, at Daniel and Emma's home, laughter had become a daily sound. Lily now called the small guest room her room. Emma painted the walls light purple, Lily's favorite color, and Daniel hung fairy lights around the window. Lily no longer flinched at every sound. She smiled more, talked more, and sometimes danced around the living room with Emma, pretending to be a princess. But the biggest change happened when Maria, Lily's mother, finally came home from the hospital. When she arrived, Lily ran to her. "Mommy." Maria hugged her tightly, tears pouring down her face. "I missed you, baby. I missed you every second." "I knew you'd come," Lily whispered. "Daniel and Emma took care of me." Maria looked at them with gratitude in her eyes. "Thank me for everything." Daniel smiled warmly. "She's a brave girl. She saved more lives than she knows." Later that evening, the four of them sat around the dinner table. It felt like a real family. Laughter, food, and love all shared freely. Daniel stood up with a small paper in his hand. "This came today," he said. "It's from the court." Everyone went quiet. Daniel read, "Ray Dalton has been officially sentenced to 15 years in prison without parole." Maria closed her eyes in relief. Lily looked at her mom and whispered, "He can't hurt you anymore, right?" Maria shook her head. "Never again." That weekend, the police department held a special community event. They invited families, teachers, neighbors, everyone who had watched the story unfold. Daniel stood on stage with Chief Reynolds and Emma beside him. Then he invited Lily to come forward. People clapped as she walked up nervously, holding Emma's, and Daniel spoke into the microphone, his voice steady and proud. This little girl had every reason to stay silent. But instead, she spoke up. She followed the right people. She told the truth, even when she was scared. And because of her, justice was served. The crowd stood up in applause. Tears flowed freely. Lily looked out at the sea of smiling faces and smiled back. For the first time, she felt powerful, not because of fear, but because of her voice. 1 month later, Maria started a new job at the town library. She wore a small pendant around her neck, a gift from Emma that read, "Strength, Lily." Was officially enrolled in school. Her favorite subject was art, and she made a painting of 4 people standing in front of a bright yellow house. She gave it to Emma and said, "This is our happy ending." Daniel and Emma began the process to become emergency foster parents, so they could help more kids like Lily. Their quiet house had become a place of hope. On the front door, a small wooden sign now hung. "This is a safe place." Because once upon a time, a little girl had followed a woman. She stared quietly. She waited bravely, and then she spoke 5 simple words that changed everything. "You're the only one who can help." And someone finally listened.